If you're a purveyor of vintage videos and great rock stars, you'll know what we're talking about. Anyway.
Or maybe you're lucky and you don't. I don't know.
Maybe you're lucky and you have no idea. So we're talking about guitars and amplifiers and frogs. Just kidding. That's an inside joke. Sorry. Jonathan has a thing for frogs.
I love them. Especially when they pee in your hand. When you grab them, you know?
I hate that. It's the grossest part. Why you should have more guitar amps than guitars?
No.
You know, it's zinger right there, right? The zingers of these are fun sometimes because Jonathan has no idea what we're going to talk about half the time. And it's like, hey,
I'm pleasantly surprised at this one.
Hey, you'll be happy. You're like, well, it's going to be really frog pissing?
Oh my God.
No, because like this sort of stemmed from obviously just Derek and I talking shit to each other. But I was playing last night. My wife had a council meeting, so she's gone for like 7 hours, which is amazing that she's doing such civic duties and I'm not alone with video games and guitars by myself and cookies.
How do you cope? How do you get through?
People are like, aren't you lonely? I'm like, oh, it's hard.
It's really bad.
But I'll get through it. But
It's really bad.
So I come down here, I surround myself with all these gorgeous amplifiers, and I take my one guitar, I take a Stratocaster. That tends to be what I go to. That then changes later. And I started going through amps I hadn't played in a while. And I was going through my Vibro, my Vibroverb over here, and that amp is unbelievably good.
There's a lot of good amps in this room.
Well, this is the Vibroverb I have is like it's the one that was like it was a limited run that Fender did when like Cesar Diaz did like the mod on it.
Yep.
So it just has that. It sounds so good. And I was playing the Vox AC30 top boost that I have. That's an older one. Cool. And I was like, oh my God, I forgot how good these amps are because all I've been playing is 2-Rock for like a year. And it's just, and I was playing the same guitar, and they were all so different sounding.
Yes.
And it was like it's like I had a different instrument. I was playing differently too. It's like when you grab a different guitar, it makes you play differently. I was playing differently through different amps.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, what if I try this pedal through this amp? Ooh, that's so different now. So I'm putting a plea out to you. Stop scrolling through the guitars.
Look at the amps.
Look at the amps too. It's a really unhealthy addiction. It's heavier. Your spouse will notice that you're buying these much more often too, probably. They're harder to hide. They're
Unless
louder.
you have a little building behind your house.
Unless you have a she shed. Johnny Rob's She Shed. I was watching one of your videos, side note, the one on triads that you did about a year ago. 2 nights ago. It's a really good video. And you shot that in our teaching studio next door.
I did.
But I thought you shot it in your she shed. I was like, man, Johnny's she shed is so nice. Like, wait, no, that's here.
It was here.
It was here.
Yeah.
But no, it was a really good video. It's
Thank you.
I put the camera up next time. I know you had to do it down there. Just
whatever.
I don't care. Showcase your nose
That's
better.
true.
If you don't know it, he has a beautiful nose in person. It's one of those like
Profile
noses you just want to squeeze it and touch it. It's like Santa Claus is a baby.
It's very soft.
It is soft. It's strangely soft. Why do I know this? Don't worry about it. But no, and then the weird trick came later is when I switched to the Les Paul.
No.
And then I had a whole new set of amps again on those same 3 amps that I was running through.
Because, I mean, the reality is you really only need 3 or 4 guitars.
You need 2 guitars, really.
A humbucker and a single coil.
That's really it.
You could get by with that. But then it changes so drastically in your different amps. Because I actually have 4 amps that I play at home right now, and only 3 guitars.
Think about that, because that's a lot.
I know. I mean, it is.
And it's sort of grown over the past 2 years.
Because I haven't really bought guitars, but I have gotten into buying some amps.
And you've also gone through a process of amps and guitars to a shorter extent, but you started off with the Super 15, didn't you?
That's right.
You're like, this is going to be all I need. It's great. It's portable. It's compact. Then the devil attempted you with the M80.
That's true.
Magnetone, and it ruined you.
It did.
And now it's about to ruin Sean too.
It's about to.
Isn't it funny how, side note, how musicians like bitch and moan, like we all do. Like, oh man, I just wish I had more money or something. It's like, so I can buy this new toy.
And then you
It's not about like to pay the bills or save for kids' college.
Well, I thought about it. It's funny how you like find the money to do those things when you're like, oh, I gotta have this amp, and you figure it out. You're like, oh God, if I sold this thing and then didn't do this for 3 months.
I mean, your wife doesn't need 2 kidneys.
No, God,
I mean,
no.
it's like she's served her purpose. The kids are like of their own age where they can rear themselves now. She doesn't need to be there.
I mean, technically, you could sell both your kidneys if you just sat in your room with your amps and you were like hooked to
up
the machine that like circulated your blood,
don't attempt this at home. Talk to a professional kidney harvester.
Yeah, that's probably
If you need help, don't do this.
It's like that horrible urban myth where you like wake up and you're in the bathtub with ice and your kidneys are gone.
That's happened to me a lot, like waking up in the bathtub with ice, but no kidneys gone.
Yeah, okay.
It's just a prank that my friends would pull on me.
Your parents when you were little.
My parents, yeah. I mean, I was telling the kids I was working with this morning about like my horror shows. They're like, their mouths are open, like, oh, my mom used to lock me in my room for hours to days at a time. Like, what? And I'm like, yeah, that's just my childhood. I learned how to be alone really well. I'm like, oh, that explains things. So if you're confused and you want your kid to be a guitar player or just be a great introvert, just talk to me. I'll give you some advice later.
There you go.
But no, like I've had such a journey because I literally had one amp my whole life.
Right.
Like the Fender Red Knob.
The Red Knob.
That was my thing, and it was just my amp, and I loved it. And then I got older, and I made a mistake of like getting another amp.
Do you remember the first one you got after that? And why did you get it?
I feel like it was the Vox.
Okay.
Because that was from my touring days with Richard Lloyd.
That's right.
So cause I was not really a Vox guy because like again, you gotta remember this is like the early 2000s. Like you just didn't have access to like the online sales as much. I just didn't know about it. At least I lived in New York City.
I was the same way. I just didn't.
Still, I just didn't know how much of a difference it could make.
Well, it never occurred to me to have like more than one amp for the longest time, right?
Because
it was just like I had an amp. I had a Hot Rod DeVille was my first like real amp. And it was like clean and drive and more drive. I was like, what else could you possibly ask for?
I mean, that is one of the best amps ever.
And the 410 Hot Rod DeVille, that was my first real amp.
That one's really loud. Like
when I found that thing in the pawn shop, I was like, what are these? It's like light bulbs in the back. Oh my God, are those tubes?
Everything's better.
I looked it up and I was like, I don't know if they're tubes or valves. Oh my! Because I looked it up and it got like a British site.
That's very confusing.
This is very young internet days, so I just didn't know.
That's That is. It's like getting French fries and like they give you some vinegar or some mayonnaise. You're like, what happened?
But maybe they're chips.
Yeah, chips are. It's very confusing.
Chips are fries and crisps are chips.
I was just thinking about Who Wants to Be a Millionaire right now, or the thing. What's the thing with Billy? The guy that opens up the briefcase with all the pretty girls. Is that The Millionaire?
Oh,
that's a different show.
That's a different one.
I don't know.
Howie, what is that show? God,
I don't know. But I was thinking about that because I was like, we saw it somewhere. And my wife's. I said that's where you meet future princes and kings. She's like, what are you talking about? Like, that's where Harry met Meghan or something maybe, or because she was on that at one point. And I was like, that's crazy. That's where you
Christy
go.
will be so excited if she watches this because she loves royalty.
I think royalty's pretty gnarly too. My mom hates it right now because she's all about the Scots. So she's like, she used to be like an Anglophobe, like British like lover, and then now she's all into like Scottish things. So she like hates the British for some reason, which is really funny.
Freedom. Yeah. Okay.
It's like I get it. It's like let's just not hate anybody, Mom. Come on. You live in America. You're good. No, but then the whole thing is like you have like, let's say you're starting with your 6v6s or you're gonna have your ELs type of amps, or they're so different. They interact differently. Like when I went from Les Paul or Strat to Les Paul last night, I was like, it was a whole different playing style, a whole different, because the amps were like roar.
Right. When you get something pushing those amps a little bit, isn't that funny? Like, yeah.
It just the pickup, you really, so you only need like 2 guitars and 20 amps.
No big deal. Or you're welcome for all the savings.
No, and don't get me wrong. You can go down the road of the Axe effects.
Yeah.
You can do all that, and that stuff's super fun. And it is really fun. I've still yet to be in a room where I was like, that's the same feeling of fun. And I've been in a great room with some great, but it's like I've never experienced the same feeling of like a real amp.
Here's something. This just occurred to me when you're talking. Like I've heard people say a lot, and I have said this to like parents who are buying things for their kids. You know, like the multi-effects pedals, like when you used to get the Digitech stuff or the Boss multi-effects. I would hear people say, or even the Zooms, like that was a great way to see, hey, what do I really love? Do I love flangers, or do I love phasers, or do I love this? And then you can figure it out and build your analog board, and you don't waste all this money figuring out which effects you even like. So maybe like a Axe effect. Well, I mean, it was an expensive way to do it, but maybe one of those, or like a Helix. Or even maybe something that's not that, like the Line 6
Fender LT25s or the Line 6s, or
then figure out which type you love, and then maybe work towards that's your real amp, and then you got this other thing that lets you have everything.
No, because I did just to test myself. I got one of the Fender LT25s, and I played it after playing those glorious amps, and it was I don't know, it was like getting on a bicycle with flat wheels after riding in like a Mustang.
That's probably not the best.
I know.
Like,
it's also like a little 8-inch speaker.
Right, exactly.
And I'm playing like a 12-inch
Right.
like Vibro Champ. Like, or not, whatever I'm playing, Vibro Lux, Vibro Verb. I don't even know at this point. Vibro something, Vibro Verb.
I will say this. So after one of my videos the other day, I took home that Helix LT we had. I just want, because I used to own one, right?
Yeah.
I was like, I just want to try it again, just to see.
Was it fun?
So I got home.
You're an idiot.
Took it out of the box, and I was like, oh God, I have to set it up and like do the menus. Okay. And I put it right back in the box.
There's something about this immediacy.
I was like, man, I just didn't care. I was like, no. And then you know what? I plugged right into my magnetone, and guess what? When I hit the switches, it made sound immediately after warming up, and I was like, oh okay.
No, I mean, there's something just wonderful, and like I go back to my little Gibson 5-watt amps or the Fender Champs, and they have their glorious little thing too. And the weird thing is, like, even the same amp, like if there's two Fender Bassmans, they're going to sound slightly different.
This Fender Bassman, there's a Fender Bassman to my left.
Two, right there, vintage '60s ones.
But this one right here, which is like the 65 or whatever it is, God, it's a good amp.
It's a good amp. It's a really good amp.
I mean, like, it's really good.
And that Mesa Boogie amp, that vintage Super Reverb's great. You know, the old Vibro Champ's great. The old Gibson's great. That orange is great. And the orange is a totally different amp.
Amps are just fun.
Orange rocker verb combo.
It really is. If you want to be inspired, the way might not be the new guitar. Get your guitar set up, put new strings on it, and then get a different amp. And I mean, it might be like a Blues Junior or a Hot Rod Deluxe.
I just want to see how long I could be quiet.
Not very long. It's like when I make my children play that game. Who can be quiet the longest? In the car ride, Dad, she was looking at me. She's not being quiet.
Oh, just wait till you're married one day, son. To your sister. That's how Johnny's family does it. Because like your sister wife is wonderful.
This is a real thing. This is a super sweet thing. So my little girl is still in that amazing, adorable stage where she thinks that like I am the greatest man who has ever lived.
You got like 6 months.
Right, maybe. She's like, "Can I just marry you one day? Would I still be your little girl?" It's very sweet. Like it's
honey, if you only knew our history.
But gosh, she's so cute.
It's the words I've always wanted to hear. Yeah. And gross. No, that is really cute. She is adorable. You have an adorable, strange little girl. But she's adorable. So on that note, get yourself your debit card out. Get online. Go find out. Or you just go to your friends. Swap amps with your buddies. Ooh. Do amp swap. Like wife swap.
Not a bad idea.
But like way less irritating.
I mean, like literally, if you let's say you had a buddy who has whoever the person you know that's got like the basement jam room or the she shed, just take a bunch of your amps there, leave them. Do you know what I mean? And then you guys get together and then you swap amps.
Or like make some really bad decisions in life, end up working at a guitar store, and you can pretty much play any amp you want.
That's also true.
Like, it's like Sean's like, can I borrow this like $4,000 amp to go play tonight with my band? I'm like, yes. Yeah, and Jonathan's like, no.
He's like I'm thinking about if I'm gonna buy it.
I'm telling, don't buy it. Don't buy it. Just borrow it.
And I'm like, yeah, buy it, man. You need it.
You don't. I'm the devil angel.
You gotta have it.
I think
don't get that one. The more expensive one's coming. You want that.
I mean, I'm sort of like, but in some ways, I just like buy once, cry once. It's
that is true.
Don't just go for the one like I could get this one and save up for a little bit. Just save up for a little longer and get the one you want.
That was my Super 15 reasoning. I was like, you know what? I can keep this thing, but I'm gonna want the big one. And a year later, I'm gonna want to sell that. I'm like, just now, nope. Get pull the Band-Aid off. Buy the big boy.
Just get it. Hurt.
Be happy for life.
Be pained up. Move on. I think that's the way.
It was a little more pain, but it's worth it.
It's a lot more
worth
pain.
it in the
but
end.
it does, like, because I'm just a grown up, has kids, gets to go to work and hang out with my friends, and but then at the end of the day, when everybody's gone, it's all quiet. My wife's doing a council meeting. It's really lonely, and I could play these amps really loudly.
That's amazing too.
It's the joy of that, and it's my kids are asleep or not. I don't really care, and I'm having the time of my life, just by myself, playing guitar.
Yep.
Through loud noise boxes.
True.
Enjoy the journey. Have fun with it. Let us know your journey, the ones that got away, the ones you wish you had, or the ones you got now. If you have a great collection, like send us pics. I love seeing pics of like good amp collections.
True.
It gets me excited. I need therapy.
Ooh, we should say thank you to our friend up around Buffalo who sent us that cool clock.
I don't have it on the. We're going to talk about that on a video in the future.
Okay,
yeah,
cool.
I know. His name is Secret Agent Man.
Yes.
It starts with his name starts with a J. But we have a cool. He sent us a great clock that's you can't play it very well. But it's not set up well, but
It's not.
it's a guitar clock.
It's a good timekeeper though.
It's like a Stratocaster and Languedoc had a baby.
It is like
Kind of like my fantasy.
It's true.
That's it. Like, take us home, John.
I think that's it. Hit like, hit subscribe, click the bell if you have not already. That's very important. Thanks for hanging out with us as always, and we will see you next time.